The baby's scream cut through LAX Terminal 7 like a knife through butter. Marcus Kang stopped mid-stride, his jaw clenching so hard he could hear his teeth grind. Around him, travelers hurried past with their rolling suitcases and coffee cups, pretending not to hear the sound. But Marcus heard everything. Always had. It's what kept him alive in his line of work. The crying got louder. Closer. He turned his head slowly, eyes scanning the crowd until he found the source. There, near gate 47, a young black woman sat on the floor against the wall. Homeless, clearly. Her clothes were wrinkled and stained. Her natural hair was pulled back in a messy bun. And in her arms, a baby. Maybe 6 months old, screaming like the world was ending. Marcus felt his anger spike. He'd been awake for 36 hours straight, closing a deal that had required 3 dead bodies and twice as many bribes. His flight to Tokyo left in 20 minutes. He had a headache that could kill a horse. And this woman had chosen his gate, his space, to set up her begging spot with her crying kid. He should walk away. Should board his plane and forget he ever saw her. But his feet carried him forward instead. Closer to the noise. Closer to the mess he absolutely did not need in his life right now. The woman looked up as his shadow fell over her. Her eyes went wide. Most people had that reaction when they saw Marcus up close. 6'3", built like he lived in the gym, with a face that had seen too much violence to ever look completely friendly. He wore a black suit that cost more than most people made in 3 months. His watch alone could feed a family for a year. Please, the woman said quickly, holding up one hand while the other tried to soothe the screaming baby. I'm not causing trouble. We'll move. I'm sorry. Marcus stared down at her. At the cardboard sign propped against the wall, single MOM. Anything helps. God bless. How long has she been crying? His voice came out rougher than he intended. I don't know. 20 minutes? She's hungry. I'm trying to, the woman's voice cracked. I'm trying. The baby's face was scrunched up, red, angry. Her tiny fists waved in the air. And then, for just a second, she opened her eyes, looked right at Marcus, and stopped crying. Just like that. Mid-scream. Her little mouth hung open, but no sound came out. She stared at him with these huge, dark eyes. Studied his face like she was trying to figure out a puzzle. Then she smiled. Not a little smile. A huge, gummy, delighted grin that lit up her whole face. She reached out her tiny hands toward him, making grabbing motions. And then she laughed. This pure, joyful sound that made several nearby passengers turn and smile. I'm so sorry, the woman said, looking between her baby and Marcus with confusion. She doesn't usually, I don't know why she's. Marcus stood frozen. Completely frozen. The baby was still reaching for him, still smiling like he was the best thing she'd ever seen. Like he wasn't a man with 23 confirmed kills and more blood on his hands than he could ever wash clean. What's her name? He heard himself ask. Amara. Her name is Amara. How old? 6 months. Almost 7. Marcus looked at the woman properly for the first time. She was young, maybe 24 or 25. Pretty, despite the exhaustion etched into her face. Despite the dirt under her nails and the bruise on her arm that looked a few days old. Her eyes held something he recognized, desperation mixed with pride. The kind of pride that kept you going even when everything else said quit. What's your name? Zara. She hesitated. Zara Williams. Stand up, Zara. She did, slowly, carefully, like she thought he might hit her. She held Amara close, protective. The baby was still staring at Marcus, still smiling. Marcus reached into his pocket, pulled out a set of keys on a simple silver keychain. He held them out. Zara looked at the keys like they might explode. What is this? Address is on the tag. It's a house in Malibu. Beach property. 3 bedrooms, fully furnished, stocked kitchen. I don't understand. Neither do I, Marcus said honestly. And he didn't. He had no idea what he was doing. This went against every rule he'd ever learned. Never pick up strays. Never show weakness. Never let anyone into your space. But your daughter smiled at me. And I can't remember the last time anyone looked at me like that. Sir, I can't accept. You can and you will. He pushed the keys into her hand. Ignored how her fingers trembled. Stay there. Keep the place clean. Take care of your daughter. I'll be back in 3 months. 3 months. Business in Tokyo. Maybe longer. Doesn't matter. House is empty anyway. He stepped back, putting distance between them before he could change his mind. There's a car service number on the back of the tag. They'll take you there. Everything you need is already in the house. Why? Zara's voice broke. Why would you do this? Marcus looked at baby Amara one more time. She waved at him, giggling, like they were old friends. I don't know, he said quietly. Maybe I'm tired of being the villain in every story. He turned and walked away. Didn't look back. Couldn't look back because if he did, he'd see the tears streaming down Zara's face, and he'd remember that he wasn't supposed to care about things like that. Behind him, he heard Amara start to cry again, calling after him in her baby way. Marcus kept walking, boarded his plane, sat in first class and closed his eyes. What the hell had he just done? Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and hit that subscribe button. You won't believe what happens when he comes back. Now back to the story. The beach house was insane. Zara stood in the driveway, holding Amara, staring at the 2-story modern home with floor-to-ceiling windows that showed the ocean beyond. The driver who'd picked them up from the airport had barely said 2 words. Just loaded their pathetic collection of belongings, 2 garbage bags, and a broken stroller into the trunk and driven them here. This is a mistake, Zara whispered. This has to be a mistake. But the keys worked. The door swung open to reveal hardwood floors and white furniture and art on the walls that probably cost more money than Zara had ever seen in her life. Amara squealed with delight, reaching for everything. Don't touch anything, baby, Zara said, even though she wanted to touch everything too. Wanted to run her fingers over the soft couch and the cool marble countertops and the fluffy towels in the bathroom that had a tub big enough to swim in. The kitchen was fully stocked, just like he'd said. Real food. Fresh vegetables and fruit and meat and pasta and rice and everything. The refrigerator hummed with electricity. The lights worked. The water ran hot and cold. Zara sank down on the kitchen floor and cried. Just sat there with Amara in her lap and cried until she couldn't cry anymore. For months she'd been on the streets with her baby, sleeping in her car until it got repossessed, then sleeping in shelters until they kicked her out for crying too much at night, then just sleeping wherever she could. Bus stops, park benches, airport bathrooms where at least it was warm and there were places to wash up. For months of watching her daughter grow thinner, of rationing formula, of begging strangers for money just so Amara could eat, of hating herself for bringing a baby into a world where she couldn't even provide a roof. And now this house, this miracle. Thank you, she whispered to the empty air. To whatever God or fate or random chance had put that man in her path. Thank you. That night, Zara gave Amara a real bath in warm water. Fed her a bottle made with clean water from the tap. Put her to sleep in an actual crib that she found in one of the bedrooms. Then Zara took her first hot shower in 4 months and cried all over again. She found clothes in her size in one of the closets. Just basics, jeans, t-shirts, sweaters. But clean. New. Expensive in a quiet way that didn't scream money but whispered it. There was even a washing machine. A dryer. Simple things that felt like magic. Zara washed their old clothes. Threw away the ones that were too damaged to save. Dressed herself and Amara in new things that actually fit. For the first time in months, she let herself breathe. Really breathe. But in the back of her mind, a question nagged. Who was he? Why had he done this? And what would he want in return? Men didn't give women houses for nothing. Zara had learned that lesson hard. Her ex had seemed like a good guy too. Right up until she told him she was pregnant and he'd called her a gold-digging liar, accused her of trying to trap him, and kicked her out with nothing but the clothes on her back. So, what did this Marcus Kong want? A week passed. Then 2. Zara waited for the other shoe to drop. For him to call and demand something. For men in suits to show up and drag her out. For the dream to end. But nothing happened. Just silence. Until 3 weeks after she'd moved in, when her phone, the cheap prepaid thing she'd bought at a convenience store, rang with a number she didn't recognize. She answered cautiously. "Hello. Is the house acceptable?" A man's voice. Deep, smooth, with just a hint of an accent she couldn't place. Zara's heart jumped. Are you? Marcus Kong. Yes. Is everything working? Do you need anything? She sat down hard on the couch. Amara played on a blanket nearby, babbling at her toys. Everything is perfect. More than perfect. I don't know how to thank you. You don't need to thank me. Just answer the question. Do you need anything? Zara thought about lying. About saying no, they were fine. She didn't want to push her luck. But Amara was growing. Her old clothes didn't fit anymore. And the formula was running low. Baby clothes, she said quietly. And maybe some formula? The kind she likes is expensive and text the list to this number. Someone will deliver it tomorrow. I can't ask you to. You're not asking. I'm offering. A pause. How is she? Amara? Yes. Something in his voice made Zara's chest feel warm. She's good. Happy. She laughs a lot now. She didn't used to. She stopped. She's doing really well. Good. That's good. He sounded almost relieved. I have to go. But Zara. Yes. If you need anything, call this number. Anytime. Day or night. Understand. I understand. Good. He hung up. Zara stared at her phone for a long time. Then she looked at Amara, who was trying to eat her own foot. Who is he, baby girl? She asked. What kind of man does something like this? Amara just giggled and went back to her foot. The calls became regular. Once a week, every Monday morning California time, which meant Monday evening wherever Marcus was. He always asked the same questions. How's Amara? Do you need anything? Is everything working? And slowly, over weeks that turned into months, the conversations got longer. More personal. She's crawling now, Zara told him in week 8. Like really crawling. She goes everywhere. I had to baby-proof the whole house. That's early, isn't it? Marcus sounded pleased. For crawling. A little bit. She's determined. Gets that from her mama, I guess. Tell me about her father. The question caught Zara off guard. She'd been folding laundry on the couch. Now she stopped, a tiny pink onesie in her hands. Why do you want to know? Because you never mention him. And a baby doesn't just appear. So where is he? Zara's jaw tightened. He's not in the picture. His choice. What happened? Does it matter? It does to me. And somehow, despite every wall she'd built, despite every reason not to trust anyone, Zara found herself talking. Telling this stranger the whole story. How she'd been working 2 jobs, trying to save money for college. How she'd met Derek at the bar where she waitressed. How he'd been charming and sweet and funny. How she'd actually believed him when he said he loved her. How everything had changed the second she showed him the positive pregnancy test. He said I was trying to trap him, Zara said quietly. Said I probably cheated and the baby wasn't even his. Told me to get rid of it or get out of his apartment. She laughed bitterly. I chose the baby. And 2 weeks later, I was living in my car. Marcus was quiet for so long Zara thought the call had dropped. He's lucky he's not here, Marcus finally said. His voice had gone cold. Empty. Because if I ever meet him, he won't walk away. You don't mean that. I absolutely mean it. And the scary thing was, Zara believed him. A man who abandons his child is less than nothing. He's worse than the worst criminals I deal with. What kind of criminals do you deal with? Another long pause. The kind I shouldn't talk about on a phone call. Are you a bad person, Marcus Clung? Yes. No hesitation. Just honesty. I've done terrible things. Hurt people. Worse than hurt them. I'm not a good man, Zara. But you gave us this house. One good deed doesn't erase 100 bad ones. Maybe not, Zara said. But it's a start. She could almost hear him smile through the phone. You're an optimist. I'm a survivor. There's a difference. Indeed. Amara chose that moment to pull herself up on the coffee table, standing on wobbly legs. She looked at Zara and grinned, proud of herself. Oh my God, Zara breathed. She's standing. Marcus, she's standing on her own. Send me a picture. What? Of her standing. Send me a picture. Please. Zara fumbled for her phone, snapped a quick photo of Amara balancing against the table. Sent it to the number he'd been calling from. She heard his phone buzz on the other end. Heard his sharp intake of breath. She looks happy, Marcus said softly. She is. Because of you. No. Because of you. You're the one raising her. Teaching her. Loving her. I just provided a roof. You provided more than that. You provided hope. Neither of them spoke for a moment. The silence felt heavy. Meaningful. I should let you go, Marcus finally said. It's late here. Where are you? Tokyo. Still. The business is complicated. When are you coming back? 3 months. That was the deal. Right. 3 months. Zara did the math. So about 6 weeks from now? Yes. 6 weeks. He paused. I'll see you then, Zara. See you then. But 6 weeks came and went. No Marcus. The calls continued. But each time, he had an excuse. Business in Hong Kong. Problems in Seoul. Complications with partners who needed personal attention. I'm sorry, he told her in month 4. I know I said 3 months. It's turning into longer. It's okay, Zara said. And weirdly, it was okay. The house was still theirs. The money still showed up like clockwork. And she'd started taking online classes, studying for her GED while Amara napped. How is she? Getting big. She's pulling herself up on everything. I think she's going to walk soon. I want to see that. When she walks, record it. Send it to me. You really care about her, don't you? I really do. He sounded surprised by it. I don't know why, but I do. Maybe you're a better person than you think. Or maybe she just smiles better than anyone else. Zara laughed. That too. Month 5. Month 6. The calls got more frequent. Longer. Sometimes twice a week. Sometimes just to check in. Sometimes to talk about nothing important. How Amara had tried sweet potatoes and hated them. How Zara had found a good deal on baby clothes at Target. How Marcus had closed a deal that was worth millions but felt empty. Do you ever get tired? Zara asked him one night. It was late. Amara was asleep. Zara was sitting on the deck, watching the waves. Of the life you live? The violence. Every day, Marcus admitted. But it's all I know. It's what I'm good at. You're good at other things too. Like what? Like talking to me. Like caring about a baby you barely know. Like being human instead of a monster. You've never met me. Maybe I am a monster. Monsters don't call every week to check on a kid. Monsters don't make sure we have everything we need. Monsters don't sound sad when they talk about missing things. What am I missing? Her growing up. First steps. First words. All the little moments that matter. Marcus went quiet. You're right. I am missing it. And he stopped. That's harder than I thought it would be. Then come home. I will. Soon. I promise. But soon turned into another month. Then another. Until finally, in the middle of month 6, Marcus called with different news. I'm coming back, he said. Week from Wednesday. My flight lands at noon. Zara's heart did something complicated in her chest. Really? Really? I'm done here. Time to come home. This is home now? LA? Wherever you and Amara are, Marcus said quietly. That's home. After the call ended, Zara sat in the darkened living room, processing his words. Processing the way her heart had jumped when he said he was coming back. Processing the way she'd started looking forward to his calls. The way she'd started thinking of him as more than just the stranger who'd saved them. Somewhere along the way, in the space between phone calls and text messages and photos, she'd started to care about Marcus Clung. And that terrified her. Because men who seemed good always turned bad. That's what her life had taught her. But a small voice in the back of her mind whispered, what if he's different? What if he's real? Zara stood up, checked on Amara sleeping in her crib, and made a decision. When Marcus came back, she'd be ready. They'd talk. Really talk. Figure out what this was. What it could be. If he still wanted them here. If he didn't, well, she'd figure that out too. She always did. But deep down, she hoped he wanted them. Hoped he wanted her. Because somewhere in the past 6 months, she'd started to fall for a man she'd never even kissed. If you're hooked, smash that like button and subscribe. Comment below. What do you think Marcus will say when he sees them? Let's find out. The day Marcus was supposed to arrive, Zara cleaned the house 3 times. She washed every surface, vacuumed every rug, made sure everything was perfect. She dressed Amara in the cutest outfit she owned, a little yellow sundress with matching shoes. Did her hair in 2 puffs on top of her head. Then Zara looked at herself in the mirror and panicked. What do you wear to meet the man who changed your life? The man you'd only talk to on the phone? The man who could be anyone, anything, and you'd still be grateful because he'd saved you? She settled on a simple blue dress. Nothing fancy. Just clean and pretty and her. Noon came and went. No Marcus. 1 o'clock. 2 o'clock. Zara tried not to panic. Flights got delayed. Traffic happened. Maybe his meeting ran late. At 3 o'clock, her phone rang. I'm pulling up now, Marcus said. Are you home? We're here. Good. See you in 2 minutes. Zara's hands shook as she picked up Amara. Daddy's home, she whispered. Then stopped. I mean, Marcus is here. The man who gave us this house. Not your daddy. Because he's not your daddy. He's just. Amara babbled something that sounded like dada and Zara's heart clenched. No, baby. Don't call him that. He's not. The doorbell rang. Zara took a breath. Opened the door. And there he was. Marcus Clung looked exactly like she remembered, but also completely different. Taller somehow. More real. His black suit was wrinkled from travel. His hair was messy. He had dark circles under his eyes like he hadn't slept in days. But when he saw them, his whole face lit up. Hi, he said. Hi, Zara breathed. They stood there for a long moment, just looking at each other. 6 months of phone calls suddenly feeling very different when they were face to face. Then Amara made a sound. A happy, excited squeal. Marcus's attention dropped to the baby. Amara, look at you. You're so big. Amara stared at him, studying his face. And then she did something that made Zara's entire world stop. She reached out her arms and said, clear as day, Dada. No, baby, Zara said quickly. That's not, he's not. But Amara was squirming now, lunging toward Marcus like she'd been waiting for him her whole life. Dada, Dada, Dada. Marcus looked shocked, completely frozen. He glanced at Zara. Did she just? She doesn't know what she's saying, Zara said desperately. She's only one. She just learned that word. She calls everyone. Dada. Amara insisted, reaching harder. And Marcus, moving like he was in a dream, reached out and took her. Amara immediately wrapped her arms around his neck, laid her head on his shoulder, made that contented sound babies make when they feel safe. And Marcus, this dangerous man who'd killed people with his bare hands, held her like she was made of glass. Like she was the most precious thing in the world. Hey, little one, he whispered. I missed you too. Zara felt tears prick her eyes. This couldn't be happening. This was wrong. This was. Marcus looked up at her, and the expression on his face made her breath catch. Can I come in? Yes. Of course. This is your house. No, Marcus said, stepping inside. It's yours. I gave it to you. Remember? They moved to the living room. Marcus sat on the couch, still holding Amara, who seemed perfectly content to stay right where she was. Zara perched on the edge of the chair across from them, feeling like a guest in her own home. She's beautiful, Marcus said softly. Pictures don't do her justice. Thank you. She has your eyes. Yeah, people say that. Marcus studied Amara's face, really looked at her. And Zara saw it. The exact moment his expression changed. When he saw something that made his whole body go still. Zara, he said slowly. When is Amara's birthday? March 15th. Why? What year? This year. 2024. Marcus, what? That makes her, he did the math. Looked at Zara with wide eyes. She was born in March. Which means you got pregnant in June of last year, Zara finished. Her stomach dropped. Why does that matter? Marcus stared at Amara. Then at Zara. Then back at Amara. I was in LA last June, he said quietly. One night. I had a meeting that went bad. Violent. I went to a hotel bar too, he stopped. To forget. Zara's world tilted sideways. What hotel? The Ritz-Carlton. Downtown. June 15th. June 15th. The night Zara had worked a double shift. The night that handsome, drunk man had sat at her bar, drinking expensive whiskey and staring at nothing. The night she'd felt sorry for him because he looked so alone. So broken. The night she'd agreed to have one drink after her shift. Then two. Then. Oh my God, Zara whispered. You were the waitress, Marcus said. Not a question. A statement. The one with a pretty smile. You told me jokes to make me feel better. You said I looked like I needed a friend. And you said you didn't deserve friends. Zara's hands were shaking. You bought me drinks. We talked for hours. About nothing. About everything. And then we went upstairs to my room. Marcus's voice was rough. I was drunk. You were tipsy. We both knew it was a bad idea, but we didn't care because for one night we just wanted to feel something good. I never saw you again. You checked out early. I tried to find you, but I didn't even know your full name. Just Marcus. Zara looked at Amara, who was playing with Marcus's tie, completely oblivious to the bomb going off around her. Oh my God. She's yours. Marcus looked at his daughter. Really looked at her. Saw his own eyes staring back at him. Saw the shape of his nose, the curve of his smile when she grinned. She's mine, he repeated. His voice cracked. Amara is my daughter. I didn't know, Zara said quickly. I swear to God I didn't know. If I'd known who you were, where to find you. I know. I believe you. Marcus's hands were shaking as he held Amara. That's why she smiled at me. At the airport. That's why she called me Dada. She knew. Somehow she knew. Biology, Zara whispered. She recognized you on some level. The same way babies know their mother's heartbeat. I gave my own daughter's mother a house and didn't even know it. Marcus laughed, but it sounded broken. For 6 months I've been calling you, asking about her, missing her milestones, and she's mine. She's been mine this whole time. Amara chose that moment to pat Marcus's face with her tiny hand. Dada, she said proudly. Like she'd been trying to tell them all along. Marcus closed his eyes. A single tear tracked down his cheek. Hey, baby girl, he whispered. I'm sorry I didn't know. I'm sorry I wasn't there when you were born. But I'm here now. And I'm never leaving again. Zara watched this moment, this impossible, perfect, terrifying moment, and realized everything had just changed. Marcus wasn't just the stranger who'd saved them. He was Amara's father. And somehow, that made everything more complicated and more simple all at once. What do we do now? She asked quietly. Marcus opened his eyes. Looked at her. Really looked at her. Now? Now we figure this out. Together. Because whether we planned it or not, whether we even knew each other or not, We made this beautiful little girl, and she deserves better than two strangers co-parenting from a distance. What are you saying? I'm saying I want to be her father. Really be her father. Not just a guy who sends money and calls once a week. He paused. And I want to know you. Really know you. Not just phone calls. Not just text messages. I want to try. If you'll let me. Zara's heart was doing that complicated thing again. You want to try what exactly? Being a family. Marcus said it like it was the simplest thing in the world. The most obvious solution. Not perfect. Not normal. But real. What do you say? What did she say? What could she say? This was insane. They barely knew each other. He was a criminal. She was a single mother who'd been homeless 6 months ago. Nothing about this made sense. But Amara was giggling in his arms, looking between them with pure joy. And Marcus was looking at Zara like she was something precious. Something worth fighting for. Okay, Zara heard herself say. We'll try. Marcus smiled. Really smiled. Okay, but Marcus. Yeah, if you hurt us, if you leave, if you break her heart, Zara's voice went hard. I will make sure you regret it. I don't care who you are or what you do. She comes first. Always. Good, Marcus said. She should come first. And Zara? I won't hurt you. Either of you. I promise. Promises are easy to make. And I plan to keep this one. They sat there for a long moment, the weight of everything settling between them. Then Amara yawned, big and wide, and rubbed her eyes. Nap time, Zara said. She's been up since 6. Can I? Marcus hesitated. Can I put her down? I've never done that before. Zara's throat tightened. Yeah, follow me. She led him upstairs to the nursery. Showed him how to lay Amara in her crib, how to give her the stuffed bunny she liked, how to turn on the mobile that played soft music. Marcus did it all carefully, gently, like he was handling something sacred. When Amara closed her eyes, he stood there for a moment, just watching her sleep. She's perfect, he whispered. Yeah, Zara agreed. She is. They walked back downstairs together. The house suddenly felt smaller with both of them in it. More intimate. I should probably go, Marcus said. Give you space. Let you process all of this. Where will you stay? I have an apartment downtown. I'll stay here. The words burst out before Zara could stop them. I mean, it's your house. And Amara should get to know you. And we need to talk about custody and child support and all the legal stuff. So it makes sense for you to stay. In one of the other bedrooms. If you want. Marcus studied her. Are you sure? I'm not sure about anything right now, Zara admitted. But I'm sure that Amara deserves to have her father around. So yeah, stay. Okay, I'll stay. And just like that, their little family of 2 became 3. That night, after Amara went to bed, Zara and Marcus sat on the deck, watching the ocean. They talked about everything. About that night they'd shared. About the year that followed. About Derek, the man Zara had thought was Amara's father. About Marcus's life, the parts he could tell her about, the dangerous edges he couldn't. I've never had a family, Marcus said quietly. Never wanted one. It seemed like a liability in my world. Something enemies could use against me. And now I have a daughter who calls me Dada, and a woman who sees me as more than just a monster. And I'm terrified. Of what? Of screwing it up. Of being a bad father. Of my world touching her and hurting her. He looked at Zara. Of losing this before I've even had a chance to really have it. Zara reached over, took his hand. You won't lose it. Not if you fight for it. I will. I'll fight for this. For her. He stopped. For what? For the chance to see if what I'm feeling for you is real. Zara's breath caught. What are you feeling? I don't know yet. But it's something. And I want to find out what. He squeezed her hand. If you want to find out too. I do, Zara whispered. But Marcus, I need you to understand something. I was homeless 6 months ago. I was begging at an airport. I had nothing. And now I have everything. This house, security, my daughter's father. And it scares me that it could all disappear again. It won't. You can't promise that. Watch me. Marcus turned to face her fully. Zara Williams, I promise you that you and Amara will always have a home. Whether we work out romantically or not. Whether you end up hating me or loving me. You're the mother of my child. That makes you family. And I protect my family. What if your enemies come after us? They won't. Because they won't know you exist. As far as the world is concerned, you're just my tenant. A single mother I'm helping out. Nobody needs to know the truth about Amara until I've made sure you're both safe. Is that possible? Being safe in your world. I'll make it possible. They sat in silence for a while. Then Zara asked the question that had been nagging at her. Why did you give me the keys? That day at the airport. You didn't know Amara was yours. So why? Marcus was quiet for a long time. Honestly, I don't know. I just looked at her, at how she smiled at me, and I felt something break open inside. Something I didn't even know was frozen. And I thought, maybe if I helped her, helped you, maybe I could be more than what I've always been. And has it worked? He looked at her. I don't know. Has it? Zara thought about the man on the phone. The one who called every week. Who asked about Amara's milestones. Who sent money without being asked. Who cared? Yeah, she said softly. I think it has. Marcus smiled. Stood up. I should let you sleep. It's been a long day. Marcus? Yeah, I'm glad you came back. Me too. That night, Zara lay in bed and thought about how much her life had changed. 6 months ago, she'd been at rock bottom. Now she had a home, a future, and a complicated man who looked at her daughter like she hung the moon. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't normal. But it was real. And that was enough. For now. The next morning, Zara woke to the sound of giggling. She shot out of bed, panic flooding through her, and ran to Amara's room. The crib was empty. Amara, Zara shouted, her heart in her throat. We're downstairs. Marcus's voice called back. In the kitchen. Zara ran downstairs so fast she nearly tripped. Burst into the kitchen to find Marcus sitting on the floor, Amara on his lap, both of them covered in what looked like flour. What are you doing? Zara demanded. Making pancakes, Marcus said calmly. Like this was normal. Like he hadn't just given her a heart attack. Well, trying to. Turns out I'm terrible at cooking. Amara giggled and threw a handful of flour at his face. Dada. Thanks, kiddo. Very helpful. Marcus wiped the flour from his eyes, grinning. He looked younger when he smiled. Less dangerous. Almost ordinary. Zara felt something warm bloom in her chest. You could have woken me up. You were sleeping. Amara was awake. I figured we'd bond. He looked up at her. That okay? That's okay. Zara sat down on the floor with them. But maybe next time wake me so I don't have a panic attack? Deal. They ate terrible pancakes together. Amara got more food on her face than in her mouth. Marcus tried to wipe her clean and only made it worse. Zara laughed until her stomach hurt. This is nice, she said. Yeah, Marcus agreed. It is. But that afternoon, everything changed. Marcus's phone rang. He glanced at the screen and his whole demeanor shifted. Became cold. Hard. Dangerous. I have to take this, he said. Stay inside. Lock the doors. What's wrong? I don't know yet. He stepped outside onto the deck. Through the window, Zara could see him pacing. His voice was too low to hear, but his body language screamed anger. When he came back in, his expression was dark. There's a problem, he said. My business partners in Seoul are asking questions. About where I've been. What I've been doing. Is that bad? It is if they start digging. If they find out about you, about Amara, he stopped. I need to make some calls. Figure out how to handle this. Should we leave? Go somewhere else? No. You're safest here. I have security that's been watching the house. You just didn't know it. Zara's blood ran cold. You've had people watching us? Yes. Since day one. For your protection. You should have told me. Would you have stayed if I had? Zara didn't have an answer for that. Marcus ran a hand through his hair. Look, I know it's invasive. I know it's controlling. But Zara, people in my world don't play nice. They find weaknesses and they exploit them. And you and Amara? You're the biggest weakness I've ever had. So what do? We stay smart. We stay hidden. And I deal with the problem before it becomes a bigger problem. Over the next week, Marcus was on his phone constantly, taking calls at all hours, speaking in Korean and English and languages Zara didn't recognize. He was tense, wound tight like a spring ready to snap. But with Amara, he was still gentle, still present. He'd read her books before bed, play with her on the floor, make her laugh with silly faces. It was like he was two different people, the dangerous criminal and the devoted father. And Zara didn't know which one was real. Maybe they both were. One night, after Amara was asleep, Zara found Marcus on the deck again. He was staring at the ocean, but his hand rested on a gun lying on the table. Is it that bad? She asked. It might be. He didn't look at her. The soul partners are sending someone to check on me. Make sure I'm still loyal. Still committed to the organization. When? Tomorrow. Zara's stomach dropped. What happens when they get here? I meet with them. Convince them everything's fine. That I'm still focused on business. And if you can't convince them? Marcus finally looked at her. Then things get complicated. How complicated? The kind that involves bodies and cleanup. Jesus, Marcus. I know. I'm sorry. But this is my life, Zara. This is what I do. And now it's touching you, touching Amara, and I hate it, but I can't change it. Zara sat down beside him. Then maybe you need to get out. Leave the business. Start over. It's not that simple. Why not? Because men like me don't get to just walk away. We're in until we're dead or in prison. Those are the only exits. That's not true. You could. I could what? Get a regular job? Pretend I didn't spend the last 15 years building an empire on blood and fear? Who would hire me, Zara? What could I possibly do that's legal? I don't know. But staying in this life will get you killed. And then what happens to Amara? To us. Marcus was quiet for a long time. You make a good point. So think about it. Really think about it. Because that little girl upstairs deserves a father who comes home at night. Not one who ends up in a grave. I'll think about it, Marcus promised. But tomorrow, I have to deal with this meeting first. The next day, Marcus left early. Wore a suit that made him look every inch the dangerous criminal he was. Kissed Amara goodbye. Squeezed Zara's hand. Stay inside, he said. Don't answer the door for anyone. If something goes wrong, there's a number on the fridge. Call it. The security team will get you out. Marcus, you're scaring me. Good. Be scared. It'll keep you alert. He cupped her face. I will come back. I promise. You can't promise that. Watch me. He left. The house felt too quiet without him. Zara tried to distract herself. Played with Amara. Did laundry. Made lunch. But the whole time, her eyes kept drifting to the clock. Noon came and went. 1 o'clock. 2 o'clock. At 3, her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Meeting went bad. Stay put. Don't panic. Zara's hands shook as she typed back, Are you okay? For now. But they know about the house. What? Get Amara. Go to the panic room. Now. Zara didn't think. Just grabbed Amara, who started crying at the sudden movement, and ran upstairs. The panic room was hidden behind a false wall in the master closet. She punched in the code Marcus had shown her Amara's birthday, and the door slid open. Inside was a small room with supplies. Water, food, first aid. And a monitor showing security camera feeds of the whole house. Zara locked them inside, held Amara close, and watched the screens. At first, nothing. Just empty rooms. Quiet. Then, on the front door camera, she saw them. 3 men in suits, knocking politely. Zara held her breath. When no one answered, they stopped being polite. One of them kicked the door open. The lock splintered. They were inside. Zara watched on the monitors as they moved through her home, opening doors, checking rooms, looking for her, looking for Amara. She covered her daughter's mouth, whispered soothing sounds even as her own heart tried to beat out of her chest. On the screen, the men were getting frustrated, talking in Korean, gesturing angrily. Then, on the driveway camera, she saw more cars pull up. Marcus's car, and 2 others. Marcus got out first. Even on the grainy security footage, she could see he was furious. He walked up to the house like he owned it, which he did. But more than that, he walked like a man who was done playing nice. The other cars opened. More men. Marcus's men. They entered the house. Zara couldn't hear what was being said, but she could see the body language, the shouting, the posturing. Then she saw Marcus pull out his gun, point it directly at one of the intruders. "Oh God," Zara whispered. On screen, Marcus was talking, his mouth moving, the intruders backing up, hands raised. Then, impossibly, they left, just turned around and walked out. Marcus's men followed them, made sure they got in their cars and drove away. Only when they were gone did Marcus pull out his phone. 2 seconds later, Zara's phone buzzed. "They're gone. You can come out." Zara's hands shook as she unlocked the panic room, carried Amara back downstairs. Marcus was in the living room. His suit was dirty. His knuckles were bloody. But he was alive. "What happened?" Zara demanded. "I made it very clear that this house is off limits. That if anyone touches you or Amara, I'll burn their entire organization to the ground. And they just believed you? They know I keep my promises." His eyes were hard, cold. This was the other Marcus, the dangerous one. "They won't come back." "How do you know?" "Because I gave them something else to worry about. A deal that benefits them more than killing me. And I reminded them that starting a war is expensive. So we're safe. For now." Marcus crossed to her, pulled her into his arms. "But Zara, I need you to understand something. This life I live, it's always going to be dangerous. There will always be threats, always be enemies. And I can protect you most of the time, but not all the time." Zara pulled back, looked up at him. "Then get out. Leave the organization. Walk away. And do what? Anything. Everything. I don't care if we have to live in a smaller house or drive an older car or work regular jobs. I just want you alive, Marcus. And I want Amara to grow up with a father." Marcus stared at her. "You do that? Give up this life? This house? In a heartbeat? Because none of it matters if you're dead." Something in Marcus's expression cracked. "I'll think about it. I'll really think about it. Promise? Promise." That night, after everything had calmed down, after Amara was asleep, Zara and Marcus sat on the deck again. "I talked to some people," Marcus said. "People who might be able to help me get out." "Really?" "Really. But it won't be easy. And it won't be fast. It might take months. Maybe a year. And I'll have to give up everything I built. Is it worth it?" Marcus looked at her. Really looked at her. "Ask me again in a year." "Why a year?" "Because I want to see if this thing between us is real. I want to see if I can be a good father. I want to know if I can actually have a normal life." He reached over, took her hand. "And if the answer is yes to all of that, then yeah, it's worth it." Zara squeezed his hand. "It's real, Marcus. What we have, it's real." "How do you know?" "Because I was terrified today. Not just for me or for Amara, but for you. And that's not something you feel for a stranger." Marcus pulled her closer. "I was terrified too. The whole drive here, all I could think was that if something happened to you, if they hurt you or Amara, I'd lose my mind. We're okay. This time. But what about next time? Then we deal with next time together." Marcus kissed her then. Soft and slow and full of promise. When they pulled apart, He rested his forehead against hers. Stay with me, he whispered. Not in this house. Not because of Amara. Stay because you want to. I do want to. Even knowing what I am? What I've done. You're also the man who gave a homeless woman his house. Who calls every week to check on a baby. Who's trying to be better. Zara smiled. That's the man I'm choosing. The man you're becoming. Not the man you were. I love you, Marcus said. And he sounded surprised by it. Like he hadn't meant to say it. But now that he had, he couldn't take it back. I love you, Zara. I think I have since that night we spent together. I just didn't know it until now. I love you too, Zara whispered. Even though it's crazy. Even though we barely know each other. I love you. They kissed again. And this time, it felt like a beginning instead of an ending. Before we go any further, Marcus said the next morning, we need to be sure. Sure about what? DNA test. Not because I doubt you, but because Amara deserves legal proof. For custody, inheritance, everything. He touched her face. And because I need to know for certain before I blow up my entire life. 2 weeks later, the envelope arrived. Marcus opened it with shaking hands while Zara held Amara. 99.9% probability of paternity. Marcus closed his eyes, the paper trembling in his grip. She's mine. She's really mine. Did you doubt it? No. But now it's real. Legal. Permanent. He looked at his daughter. Now I can protect her properly. Set up trusts, custody agreements. Make sure she's taken care of no matter what happens to me. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button and drop a like. Comment below. Would you have stayed? Would you have taken the risk? Let's wrap this up. 1 year later, everything was different. Marcus had done it. Actually done it. Walked away from the criminal empire he'd built. It had taken negotiations, payoffs, and more than a few threats. But he'd cut ties. Started over. Now he ran a legitimate security firm. Used his skills for good instead of evil. Made less money but slept better at night. They'd moved out of the beach house. Into something smaller. More normal. A regular house in a regular neighborhood where Amara could have friends and go to regular daycare and live a regular life. Marcus was there every morning for breakfast. Every night for dinner. Every bedtime story. And Zara? She'd finished her GED. Started taking college classes online. Was working toward the degree she'd always wanted. On their daughter's 2nd birthday, Marcus got down on one knee in their living room. Zara Williams, he said, holding up a simple ring. You saved my life. Not by giving me a house, but by giving me a reason to be better. Will you marry me? Zara looked at this man. This former criminal who'd become her partner, her best friend, Amara's father. This man who'd chosen them over everything else. Yes, she said. Yes, yes, yes. Amara clapped her hands. Dada. Mama. Kiss. They laughed and kissed while their daughter danced around them. Later that night, after Amara was asleep, Marcus and Zara sat on their back porch. It wasn't as fancy as the beach house. Didn't have an ocean view. But it was theirs. Do you miss it? Zara asked. Your old life. Sometimes, Marcus admitted. The power. The respect. The money. He looked at her. But then I come home to you and Amara and I remember why I walked away. Because we're worth more than all of that. Because you're everything. Zara leaned against him. You know what's funny? What? If Amara hadn't cried that day at the airport, if she hadn't smiled at you, none of this would have happened. You'd still be running your empire. I'd probably still be on the streets. And we'd never know we had a daughter together. Fate, Marcus said. Or biology. Or just unluck. Whatever it was, I'm grateful. Me too. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. Then Zara spoke again. She asked about Derek today. Marcus stiffened. What did she ask? If she had another daddy. Someone before you. Zara sighed. I didn't know what to tell her. Tell her the truth. That you thought someone else was her father. But he wasn't. I am. And I'm not going anywhere. She's 2. She won't understand the complicated parts. Then we'll explain it when she's older. When she can understand. Marcus pulled Zara closer. But one thing she needs to know now is that I'm her dad. Not because of biology, but because I chose to be. Because I love her. And I love you. Even though we're a mess? Especially because we're a mess. We're a mess. And it's perfect. Zara smiled. Kissed him. Yeah, it is. Inside, Amara stirred in her sleep. Called out Dada. Marcus started to get up, but Zara stopped him. I'll go. You got her last time. We could both go. We could. So they did. Together, they went to their daughter's room. Tucked her back in. Kissed her forehead. Whispered that they loved her. And Amara, this miracle baby who'd somehow brought 2 broken people together, smiled in her sleep and whispered back, Love Dada. Love Mama. As they walked back to their own room, Marcus pulled Zara close. Thank you, he said. For what? For not running that day at the airport. For giving me a chance. For loving me even when I didn't deserve it. You deserve it now. I'll spend the rest of my life earning it. Good. Because you're stuck with us. Best thing that ever happened to me. They climbed into bed together. And for the first time in years, Marcus felt something he'd never thought he'd feel again. Peace. Because he had a family. A real family. Not because of blood or obligation, but because of choice. Because love was stronger than violence. Because sometimes the best things in life came from the moments you least expected. Like a crying baby at an airport. A spontaneous decision to help. And a daughter who knew her father before anyone else did. The end. If you made it this far, drop a like and subscribe. Comment telling me what part hit you hardest. And remember, sometimes the best families are the ones we choose. See you in the next story.